It does leave me just in wonder when I read these scriptures in Matthew chapter 5 that Jesus talks about things such as it's been taught an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. But instead, he says, no, you just forgive them. And that just so defies the human mind, the human logic. It's not the way we think. It's not the way we operate. But yet, Jesus continues on this thought. He says, if somebody smites you on a cheek and then you turn the other cheek and say, well, you forgot this side, go ahead and hit this side as well. And again, we said we just don't behave that way as humans in these bodies of flesh. We just don't behave that way. But Jesus is telling us this is the way that we should behave. If somebody takes you to the court of law and they take your coat, he says, then give them your cloak as well. In other words, you treat your neighbor in such a way that just doesn't seem to be, as I say, logical. And you say, well, Jesus, why are you telling us these things? Why can we not take retribution and strike back at people who abuse us? But again, Jesus goes to the full extreme with this. And he told us that we have the responsibility to love our neighbor and to love people who, as he says, despitefully use you. And he says, when somebody despitefully uses you, you should pray for them. And again, it's just amazing. He says, bless them that curse thee, do good to them that hate thee, and pray for them who despitefully use you. And again, it causes our human minds to wonder, why? Why did he tell us to behave in this way? Why are we not taught to strike back and to go after that person who has abused you or used you and do bodily harm to them? Instead, he says, no. He says, pray for them. Pray for them who despitefully uses you. And so we find ourselves bringing ourselves to a place of obedience, even though the carnal man just doesn't understand this. So this moves us into the realm of the spiritual. And we've talked a lot about this here on the broadcast, about how that Jesus taught us, John chapter 3, be born again and understand that you enter into a spiritual realm and a concept of understanding that you are spiritual and that you walk in the Spirit. And when you walk in the Spirit and you walk in obedience and you have a heart of forgiveness, because that's the very heart and nature of Christ, our Savior. And again, it's an amazing concept, but it's what Jesus has taught his followers to follow. Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.